Welcome to the Education Today podcast, where we discuss all things education from preschool to college and career. I'm your host, Solanke. Let's jump right in. So my guest today is a middle school music teacher that I have had the privilege of subbing for a couple of times this year, and he's just phenomenal. So I just really wanted to have him on the show, and he said yes. So welcome to the show, Don Scott.
Hey, what's up, everybody? All right, I'm
It's
happy
good
to
to
be
have you
here.
here. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, well, I'm a native Tampanian. Y'all don't meet too many of those.
It's true.
Yep. So born and raised in Tampa, Florida. My family is all from here as well. The Scott family is very synonymous in West Tampa. So my dad had 16 brothers and sisters. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's one of 16 brothers and sisters.
Oh,
Yeah, the Scott family is pretty big. So it's a
okay.
lot of Scots in Tampa.
A lot of Scots that you're related to?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I wonder if I've
Yeah.
taught
So
some of them.
yeah, you might have
Yeah.
met a few of them along the
Yeah.
way. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
that's
if you
interesting.
been here in Tampa for a very long time. So you probably met or taught or interacted
Hmm.
with my family some way, somehow in the Tampa area.
Oh, that's cool. And you're
Yeah.
married and you have a child, right?
Yes. Yes. Me and my wife, we've been married for 9 years. We just celebrated our ninth anniversary on May 24th.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
nine
you have
years,
a
and
son.
then this past year we had our first child.
Yay.
Yep. So
Congratulations.
it's a baby
And you had a
boy.
boy, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's so good to have
Yep.
you
I
on the
named.
show. So have you always taught middle school?
No, I've taught high school before.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That's good to
taught.
know.
Yeah, I taught at Wildwood High School. If I don't know if you're
Hmm.
familiar with where Wildwood is, but you know where the Turnpike and 75 meet up there in Sumter County. That's where I
Something.
taught high school at.
So that's north of here, right?
Yeah, north of here. Like if you were on your
Yeah.
way to Ocala,
Okay.
right before,
Yes.
yeah, right before you get to Ocala, that's Wildwood. My
Okay.
first year teaching, I taught Wildwood High School and I taught at Wildwood Middle School the first year.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
why out there.
Well, as a young band director, I was trying to, get my foot in the door in Hillsborough County in Tampa. And, I never, got around to getting a job here in Tampa. Somebody from Wildwood gave me a call and it was like, hey, I need you to come up here. And I went to Wildwood and
Mhm.
pretty much he just took me on a tour of the school. And then he just gave me the keys and said, the job is yours if you want it. And he didn't even ask me a single question. It's like, hey,
Wow.
I like, yeah. And one of the main reasons why, he was like, hey, I want you to make our band like BCU, Bethune Cookman. So
Hmm.
he was like, hey, you got the job, man. I just want you to do what they do. Bring it
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true because music teacher, it's not like English teacher, which is what I do. There's usually one per school for band, maybe one orchestra also, one chorus. So yeah, your options are a little more limited than mine would be, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
ask you about
And you
Wildwood. Is
know what?
Wildwood one of those? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, once a band director gets a job, they're pretty much there forever, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Now, I'm discovering through um, reading like Zora Neale Hurston that there are these because I'm not from Florida. I grew up in the UK. I'm African. I grew up in the UK, but I'm discovering that there are these small communities in Florida that are historically Black communities. Is Wildwood one of them?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. It kind of
Okay.
is. They got this railroad track. That's where most of the Black people stay on the other side of the railroad track. But it
Oh,
is a
okay.
very small town, and they do have a lot of history there and stuff.
Okay,
So
that's good.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
just a whole bunch of little pockets up there. I think in Lake County, you got
Yeah.
a place called Eustis, which is like an all Black
Yes.
little town settlement
Yes.
and stuff. So you got them
Yes.
like all throughout, especially in North Florida.
I've driven through most of those places you just mentioned on the way to St. Augustine. Yeah. Okay. So I want to go
Yeah.
back to the
So
beginning because you're a middle school music teacher right now and you're a very accomplished
yes.
musician. But I want to know, how did this start? Like when did somebody first put an instrument in your hand? And like who put it in your hand first of all?
Oh man, okay. Well, this is it's pretty deep here. So my dad, he loves music. Um, he was actually in the first band at Blake High School. You know Howard W.
Okay.
Blake, which is
Yes.
like one of the historically black high schools in Tampa, and
Uh-huh.
he was in the first band there. This was back. Um, Remember, I was telling you, my family. My dad was
Yeah.
like one of 16. He was
Yes.
like the youngest of the 16.
Mhm.
So like my grandfather right now would be way over 100 years old. So my dad, he was in the first band at Blake back in 1957. He was in the first band at Blake, and my dad just had a strong passion for music, so he kind of pushed me and my siblings to play instruments as well. So,
Oh, okay.
he pushed my sister to play piano. My brother played guitar a little bit, and then my other brother played saxophone, and he was
Mhm.
pretty decent, pretty good
Yeah.
saxophone player when he was in high school and middle school. And so, after seeing everybody try to play some music and stuff like that, it was just destined for me to play an instrument. So first, my dad started. He gave me the guitar. So he wanted me to learn how to play guitar because my dad, he loved the
Oh.
blues. So he was like, "Hey,
Oh,
I
wow.
want you to play that guitar like BB King." So my dad got me private lessons and stuff. So I
Yeah.
had a couple private instructors trying to teach me how to play the blues and play jazz and stuff like that on the guitar. And I did that for about 2 years. And I was
Mhm.
10 years old when I started playing guitar. And to be honest, I really didn't like the guitar that much. I was just like, okay, I guess I'll just play it just to play it. But after looking back on it, it's like I retained a lot of that information and stuff because when I got deeper into music in college and stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, I learned about the Phrygian modes and all these different modes and different scales when I first learned how to play the guitar. But my passion for music really didn't happen until my uncle started teaching me how to play trumpet. And my
Oh, okay.
uncle, yeah, so this is on my mom's side. So this is my aunt's husband. My uncle Claude, he taught me how to play trumpet, and he used to talk about when he was in college because he was in the marching men at Bethune Cookman College.
Mhm.
So back in the day, it was called Bethune Cookman College. So he was at Bethune Cookman College, and he was the trumpet section leader from 1970 to 1973.
Mhm.
And as a kid growing up, my uncle used to talk about the band and just brag about how much fun he had, all the different people that he met, and lifelong friends he made through the band and stuff. And one day, they started taking me to the games and stuff at BCU, especially homecoming. I don't know if you ever
Mhm.
been to HBCU homecoming. You got people from all eras, old school, new school,
Yeah.
all coming together. And it's just like a big family reunion every time we went up there. And I used to see how my uncle interacted with all his college buddies and stuff. And the camaraderie, they were just having so much fun and just talking about all the old stories when they used to be in the band. So that kind of motivated me, like, okay, I want to, learn how to play an instrument so I can be a part of the band and just
Okay.
have that kind of camaraderie with folks.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's
then
that's a pretty.
we that's pretty deep. But now
Yeah.
I'm getting a little deeper here. So when I was doing this, when my uncle was taking me up there to BCC, the band was really small. So
Mhm.
back then it was like a very small band, and we used to go against. They used to go against FAMU all the time. So
Yeah.
when BCC band had like probably 80 people, FAMU had like 400 people. So it was
Oh.
like a big mismatch every year. So I'm like, man, and my uncle used to be all excited about BCC all the time. Like, yeah, our band is better. It's the marching men equipment and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
then fam, you come out there, 400 strong. They circled all around BCC when they were coming off the field, and they just rattle on there and everything. And I'm just like, whoa. But then I know it was crazy. It was like, man, I used to look at my uncle as a kid, like, did you see the other band? did you see FAMU? Did you see what they
Wow.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so after looking at that for a few years, then around 1996, 97, BCU band started to get bigger. So their band got about 150, 200 people,
Oh, okay.
300 people, almost the same size as FAMU.
Mhm.
So that really got me excited, and I was like, you know what? I want to be a part of BCU now because now
Oh.
we're almost as big as FAMU, and we sound
Yeah.
and look just as good as FAMU too. So
Oh,
that was my motivation for going to BCU.
yeah. All right. So before you went to BCU, did you play music throughout middle school and high school, like in the school's bands?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. So my uncle taught me how to play trumpet. Every
Hmm.
weekend I had a free trumpet lesson. Did
Okay.
my chores first, and then he would sit down and teach me the basic fundamentals of how to play the trumpet.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say was the impact of music, playing an instrument for you as you were going through adolescence in middle school and high school?
I would say it kind of kept me out of trouble.
Okay.
Because I
That's a good
had,
one.
I had some rough people in my life, and some rough friends.
Yeah.
They were getting into some deep trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm going to band practice. They going to hang out and
Hmm.
get into some craziness. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
saw some people go through some things. So I was thinking like, man, if I wasn't in the band, I would have probably been hanging out with them. Would have got in
Yeah.
trouble. Would have got arrested. Would have ended up
Wow.
in some weird, crazy situation. So
Yeah.
I think band and music really kept me out of a lot of trouble. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. So
especially in
throughout
Tampa.
middle school and high school, it was the trumpet for you, right?
Yep, it was trumpet all
Yeah.
day. Yep.
So then you
Yeah,
you
I
did
never tried.
choose. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I never tried to play any other instrument. It was just like
Hmm.
I really want to play a trumpet, because my uncle was a great trumpet player,
Yeah.
and then I was becoming a good trumpet player myself. So I was ended up becoming like a first chair trumpet player, second chair, and then I started getting into all county band and stuff and auditioning for
Yeah.
that, and I was a pretty good trumpet player. So after
Okay.
that, I was like, okay, I'm not even thinking about the streets or any other craziness.
Yeah. You said you were a native Tampanian. So which middle and high schools did you go to?
All right, I went to Franklin Middle
I
School
used to
my
teach
first
there.
year. You did? Okay.
That's where I started
Yeah.
my
Now,
career.
oh, nice. So now, when you were there, was it the all? Yeah, it eventually became an all boys school. Did you teach there when it was an
I
all
left.
boys
I
academy?
left. No, I left at that point.
Oh,
I,
okay.
yeah. I have all boys at
Yeah, I
home, so I
went to.
didn't want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was at Franklin, and that, like I say, that was a rough school, man.
Yeah.
People were just getting in fights just
Yeah.
because for no reason. I'm just like, okay, you look at somebody funny or something. I don't know. It's just a lot of craziness. So that's why I said I'm thankful that I played trumpet, so that I wouldn't even be caught up in all that
Yeah.
foolishness.
So did you go to Blake
Yeah.
High School?
So, yep, I went to Blake High
Oh,
School.
okay.
Yep, Blake
Yeah.
High School of the Performing Arts. At first, when I went to Blake High School of the Performing Arts, you have to audition to get there,
Yeah.
but I was automatically zoned to go to Blake. So I was
Hmm.
in the traditional program at first.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I'm already going to Blake. So I didn't even think about auditioning or anything when I got
Yeah.
there.
Oh, okay.
So
But
I
you, but
was actually in the traditional program at
oh,
Blake.
but you were in the band though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you had the performing arts, and then you had the traditional side. So there
Hmm.
was a traditional band
Yeah.
class there.
I
So just
see.
a yeah, it was just a regular traditional band class. So that's why I didn't even think about trying to audition because I'm already going to be there anyway.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. So then from Blake, how did you get into? I know you got into Bethune Cookman, but it sounds like were you in their music program?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, I
Did you?
was.
How
Yeah.
did you end up there?
Well, okay. Well, let me back up to Blake. So when I did get to Blake, I was in a traditional program. And after spending a year in the traditional program and stuff, a lot of people was like, "Hey, man, you're a good trumpet player.
Yeah.
Like, you should really push yourself and be a part of the actual symphonic wind
Yeah.
ensemble and the jazz band, jazz combo, and all that stuff there at Blake." So I was already there at the school, so I went ahead and auditioned, and then I was a part of the performing arts program, and that's when
Good.
I did some of everything. So yeah, and then
Good.
yeah, it was a neat experience. And my band director at Blake, he actually attended Florida A&M University, and his name
Okay.
is
Your
Robert
rival.
Griffin. And he was, yep, he was a yep, from the rival. He made band fun. He really
Okay.
did.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know the
Yeah.
way Blake is set up, it's a performing arts school, but because it's a historically black high school, they
Hmm.
want that HBCU style and stuff. So that's why Mr. Griffin was there.
I
So
see.
yes, we had a classical, we had chamber orchestras, all kinds of stuff there.
Hmm.
But the marching band had to have that traditional style, and we also mix it in a little bit with core style as well.
Oh, okay.
And
And you
Mr.
had
Griffin
the
made it.
major. Did they have the
Mr. Griffin made
majorettes
it
and
fun.
everything? I'm sorry. Did they
Yeah,
have the
we had the
majorettes?
dance.
Oh, okay.
Well, we
That's
didn't
cool.
have majorettes, but we had dancers.
Okay,
So they had the
that's good.
dance. I think it was the dance department at Blake. Most of their dancers were in the band doing the
Okay.
auxiliary stuff.
Um.
Okay.
So then, Bethune Cookman, tell us about that experience and how you ended up in that. Well, not, I know how you ended up in that band. You're a very talented musician, and what that experience was like for you.
And sure, I
Oh,
do
let me
want to
ask you
talk
this:
about how I got
was
here.
there? Let me ask you this: any question of you going anywhere else in your family?
There was no question. There was no doubt because,
Okay.
like I said, my uncle, he would always talk about Bethune Cookman. He would always take me to all the games. So I saw how the band got better over the years, and yes, I said, you know what, that's where I want to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
and then the cool thing about that, every year while I was at Blake, BCU, some of the band directors would come down every year and
Hmm.
audition us. So the band director that came down was Dr. Powell, and
Hmm.
he listened to me every year. When I was a sophomore in high school,
Yeah.
I used to go talk to him and just say,
Wow.
"Hey, I just want to come by and play a little something, something for you," and
Yeah.
he would give me some feedback and everything.
Wow.
And while I was in high school, and as I got a chance to meet Dr. Powell, I had a chance to meet all the other band directors as well. And then I found out my cousin, like I said, I got a whole bunch of Scots in Tampa here.
Hmm.
So one of our offshoots, Bridget Scott, she married the percussion instructor at BCU.
Hmm.
So I'm actually related to him. So every time I
Wow.
went to the games, I would talk to Doctor, I call him Pedro Ore. I would talk to
Yeah.
him every time I went to the games. I talked to Dr. Powell, and then eventually they introduced me to Mr. Portier, the guy who wrote the music for them at BCU, and I just used to talk to those guys when I was a sophomore all the way up to a senior in high school. And I used to just talk to them at the games like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all better be ready for me. 2 years, I'm gonna be up there."
Yeah. Oh, so then you did
Yeah,
go there, and then did you have to audition for their band? I'm sure
yeah.
you did, right?
Yep, I did audition. Yep, I auditioned. I felt like I should have got more money. Like, hey, I done built up this relationship with them, but
You got a
but
scholarship,
they
right?
they gave yes, I got
Okay.
close to a full band scholarship. So I guess the percentage would be maybe 80%
Yeah.
uh, tuition paid for through the band
Hmm.
scholarship.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had good grades, so I was able to get a Pell Grant, and then I think there was another grant that I got. So all those grants plus the scholarship, pretty much everything was paid for.
That's good. Amazing. So, what was your experience like attending Bethune?
And it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
amazing. It was everything I imagined it to be. It was a lot of hard work, especially
Hmm.
in the beginning when you're a freshman in the band. Because you got to prove yourself to everybody. Like, hey, I know
Oh.
all the band directors. They all know me, but you got to get to know everybody in the band. And you got people from Atlanta, you got people from Virginia, Miami, all over the country marching in the band, and
Hmm.
everybody's trying to prove themselves to get a spot on the field because the main band director, the head band director, is Mr. Donovan Wells, and he was very picky about who gets on the field, and he had a specific number of how many people he wanted, and you had to prove yourself to make sure that you deserve a spot on the field.
Hmm.
So because I was a strong trumpet player and I had strong will and desire, I always had a spot on the field. I marched every single game.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. So, at Bethune, was your major music education?
Yep, it was music ed.
Okay, good. So you knew you wanted to be a music teacher?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, ever
Yeah.
since I was in 10th grade, when my high school band director kind of gave me an opportunity to work with the other trumpet players. So I was helping the trumpets, French horns. Sometimes he would let me do the warm ups in class because when you're in high school, most of the time you have your band leadership.
Hmm.
And when I was in the traditional band class, we didn't have any band leadership
Yeah.
in that class. So, you usually have that drum major in there. So he was like, okay, well, you seem like you want to get class going and stuff.
Hmm.
So he would let me warm up the class. He'll let me take the band through some of the stand numbers, stand tunes and stuff.
Yeah.
And as I was up there at the podium and trying to teach the class and stuff as a 10th grader, I was like, you know what, I think I could make this into a career.
Awesome that you knew when you were in 10th grade what you wanted to do, and based on like the inspiration of your teacher, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
Mr.
pretty
Griffin.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was just so cool and laid back, and he just knew how to get good music out of people and stuff,
Yeah.
man. You know,
Yeah.
he knew how to work with the band, and every year we would get a superior at marching competition and
Hmm.
jazz competition, and we also did it on the state level too.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you just described about your teacher in 10th grade is what I saw in you actually, because even though I subbed for you, I think both times you were like there, you were just in and out, you know? I think one time you were there, but you were in and out. You had something else going on across the street or something. And another time, I think you were there in the morning and perhaps and you said things. But anyway, I was just like, what's going on here? First of all, the teacher's not here, but the kids, the instruments are out. And I remember you saying, I think like I asked you about that, and you, okay, I think I saw you the day before I subbed, and you said, yeah. Well, you tell us what is your rationale, because I haven't subbed for many music teachers, but the ones that I have, they do not leave the instruments out. What is your rationale for doing that?
Man, well, a substitute kind of talked me into it a long time ago. But because I used to be like that, I'm like, okay, no instruments, y'all
Hmm.
just sit here and do these worksheets. So I think I was out for like 3 4 days, and I was like, okay, everybody just do these worksheets, very simple worksheets. Everybody should be able to get through it. And then when I came back, like this one substitute was like, man, it was just so much like the kids were just out of control. They were crazy. They didn't want to do the worksheet.
Yeah,
They kids were asking to leave to use the restroom and never came back to the classroom.
yeah,
And stuff like that. So one substitute was just like, why don't you just let it be a normal day? I said, well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I do have band leadership in there and stuff, so maybe I'll try that. So I tried it a couple of times. So let's see what happens, and actually the class ran smoothly,
yeah,
because we do have drum majors, we have band captains and section leaders. So when I'm not there, they know, okay, today we have to try to work on stuff that's, for the next performance. So they know they got to keep that going, especially when I'm not there.
yeah,
And I've been doing it ever since.
yeah. I mean, when I said that, what you said about your teacher reminded me of you. I just remember just being amazed by the way that you've set up the leadership, because I'm sitting there as a sub thinking I'm in control of this class and I don't know what I'm doing. But your eighth graders came in and took control. They were running the show. They and the other kids, for the most part, there's a few knuckleheads in there, always. For the most part, they were listening to them. So these eight, not even high schoolers, these middle schoolers knew what to do. They basically took over your role. And I thought that was, I looked at that and I thought, okay, so I've been teaching for 15 years and I've been doing it all wrong. Because I didn't set my high schoolers up to take over when I'm not there. They knew what to do. They came in. They loved that program so much that they wanted to miss their other classes to come back in other periods. And I'm like, I don't know if you should be in here this period. They loved that program and they knew what to do and they took control and they were so mature and they were eighth graders. Some of them were even seventh graders. I was just so impressed. I was like, this guy's amazing. You've built such an
Yeah,
amazing program, and then these kids were, even the sixth graders that they were training, they were so inspired to play these instruments, and they sounded amazing. Like, how do you do it? How do you get first of all, how
man.
do you build up that leadership? Sorry, how do you build up kids in leadership in middle school?
Yeah, it's amazing. I amaze myself every time. I'm like, because like you see these kids when they come in as sixth graders, and some of them are just really really immature, and
Yeah,
then you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this kid to do this, do that, and the other. But once they actually learn how to play the instrument, and they get into it, man. It's like any misbehavior or any doubt,
mm,
it just kind of goes out the window. Like there's like, okay, I'm all in on this trumpet. I'm all in on this instrument, and they just do it.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
interesting how it turns out that way.
yeah,
But it's all about structure and just making sure your expectations and discipline is there.
yeah,
So I hey, this is the standard that we're going to set, and this is what we're always going to. This is how it's always going to be.
hmm,
So when
yeah,
those days where we're the expectations. I'm like, all right, let's pull out the handbook. Which rule did we break today? All right, what are we gonna do better next time?
Yeah.
And I make the answer it.
Yeah.
Instead of me giving a 30-minute lecture on how you need to behave, I'm like, I get some input from the kids around the room. Like, okay, what should you have done in
Yeah.
that situation?
Yeah.
I try to put that responsibility back on to the kids instead of me standing up there for 30 minutes. So I'm like, all right, y'all better get this right next time, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna take away the Disney field trip or something.
Well, you've done a great job of raising up leaders. And you know what's interesting? If you sub at a school long enough, you'll see the same kids over and over again. And then you'll see kids who are misbehaving in math, in English, and social studies. And then you see them in music or in art or something. And it's like, it's a completely different kid. They're just
Yeah.
completely, I mean, some of those kids, I was watching some of them play instruments. And I'm like, but you were really bad in your other classes. But here you're completely sold out for this program. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
it's just interesting. Yeah, I think music. It occupies so many different. It's like you're multitasking.
Yeah.
You're occupying your hands. You're working on. You got to have good posture. You got to take a deep breath. So I think it's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you don't really have time to
Yeah.
misbehave
Yeah.
or wonder, start wondering and stuff like, hey,
Mm.
you got to focus. You got so many things that have to happen to make a sound on the instrument.
Yeah. And then, at the end of the day, I'm seeing kids all with no prompting get up and start tidying things up, picking papers off the floor, putting things away. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty impressive. You don't have to talk to them.
Yeah, I've had plenty lectures about keeping the band room clean. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, we're a superior band program. We got to make sure this band room looks superior.
Yeah. They seem to really
And
take
then
pride in the program and in the room too. So my kids were in music programs in Hillsborough County. One was in the band and the two were in the orchestra. So because of that, as a parent, I attended the concerts that they all do. And I saw like the progression from sixth grade. Actually, my two youngest children played in the orchestra all the way through high school, played the violin. So, and what I always noticed is that for many of these kids, sixth grade exploration wheel is the first time they ever pick up an instrument and they sound terrible. And then, but so my kids in New Tampa, they had this orchestra teacher who even, and my eldest son had this band teacher. He's since retired. So these kids would sound really weird at the beginning, But then at the end of the school year, we'd go to the concert and I'd be like, what kind of voodoo do these people do that these sixth graders who sounded terrible a few months ago sound really good? Like, how do you do that? How do you get them from sixth grade when, like I said, many of them, it's the first time they're picking up an instrument but the end of that year, they sound pretty good. How do you do that?
and it's a lot, definitely a lot of repetition, but
Mm-hmm.
also I did my best to learn all the instruments. So I'm actually modeling what the instruments should sound like for them
Mm-hmm.
in class.
Yeah.
So of course, I play trumpet. So we need more trumpet players. So I'll hold my trumpet and play my trumpet for about a week, and then get the kids to sign up for trumpet. But when all the other kids are playing the other instruments, sometimes I don't even pick up my trumpet. I'll pick up the clarinet. I say, okay, this is how Mary Had a Little Lamb should sound on clarinet,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the type of sound you want to play with. So I try to model that for the kids. And then sometimes if you walk in there, I might have a flute in my hand. I might have a saxophone. Sometimes I have the tuba, trombone.
Mm-hmm.
So I get around to all the instruments, and I'm playing them
Okay.
with the kids. And I always try to model it. And I always tell them, try to play with a good sound, take in lots of air. And I always just try to hold them to that standard. And
Mm-hmm.
also, we do a lot of testing in class and stuff. We call them pass
The
offs,
pass
but
offs,
they're
yeah. Mhm.
actually tests.
Yes.
Mhm. So
Mm.
pass offs, we live and die by the pass offs. So if you want to get to the next band class, you better do enough pass offs
Yeah.
for me. If
Yeah.
you want to get an A in band, you got to have X amount of pass offs. So they know if they want to get an A in the class, you got to have 7 pass offs. Or
Mhm.
if you're in beginning band, you got to have at least 20 something pass offs
Okay.
per quarter, because the beginning band music is a lot shorter and a lot simple.
Yeah.
So they should be
Yeah.
able to get 20 of them in per
That's good.
quarter.
When they first come
Yeah.
into you
So,
as sixth graders, perhaps they've never played an instrument before. How do you determine who's going to play percussion, who's going to play the clarinet, who's playing the tuba?
all right. So a lot of them, they come in, they have their mind set on whichever instrument they want to play.
Okay.
But first, we're going to do some instrument testing. So I'll have it set up. This is like on the second day of school. First day of school, I'm just talking about standards and
Yeah.
expectations. But right on the second day of school, I got 10 trumpets lined up.
Wow.
I got the mouthpieces and everything ready to go, and I demonstrate. This is how you make a sound on the mouthpiece.
Uh,
You buzz high by tightening up your lips. If you want to buzz low, loosen up your lips. And then I have the kids come up. I have them buzz on the mouthpiece. And while they're doing that, I got a sheet of paper. I'm walking around the room and
Oh,
I'm listening to them. All right, let me see if you buzz. Buzz high,
see.
buzz low. Very good. Check. Listen to the next person. After they all get a chance to buzz on the mouthpiece and see if they can do high and low, then I said, go ahead and put the mouthpiece in the trumpet. So once they put the
Ooh.
mouthpiece in the trumpet, then I got to teach them how to hold the
Oh, okay.
trumpet. And then I tell them play high, play low, and make a beautiful sound. And then I'm just checking it off on the list. If they can play high and it sounds good, and they can play low and it sounds good, then they got a star. If they
Oh,
can only do part of it, then I give them a plus or I give them a minus, whatnot. So we do that for the first 2 weeks. So we do trumpet on day one, and I've been doing it for a while. So I'm pretty fast at getting 60, 70 kids through all the instruments within two
I
weeks.
see. Oh, okay. I always wondered how they determined that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so
cool.
that was the first 2 weeks. That's all we're doing. We are trying instruments. We're trying to buzz. We're trying to make a sound, and pretty much takes up the entire class period. So trumpet day, and then the next day is like trombone
Oh,
day, and
okay.
we're doing the same thing. Tuba day, French horn day.
Oh,
Then we go
wow.
to woodwind instruments. This is how you make a sound on a woodwind instrument. Then I see if they can make a sound on it. Then we go flute, saxophone,
Mm-hmm.
and then we do percussion just to see if they got good timing, good
Yeah.
rhythm. And then after that, they're going to fill out their sheet and they're going to pick the three best instruments they sounded good on.
Oh,
Not your favorite instrument. Like, hey, I always wanted to play percussion because my dad played percussion, and I'm going to be a good percussionist too, or something.
yeah.
But they have to explain why they want to play that specific instrument. And then I look at my list because I've been taking notes and plus, stars, minuses,
Mm-hmm.
and I look and see if it matches up. And if
See.
it match up, then I'll give them that instrument.
Oh, okay. That
If
makes
it doesn't
sense.
match up, then I look at their second and third choice, and I try to see which one they were the strongest on for
Mm-hmm.
the second and third choice. And then I say, okay, let's go with this. I know your first choice was trumpet, but when you tried trumpet, you had a hard time hitting the high notes. But because you can play low notes really well, you put trombone and tuba as your second choice, then you can pick either trombone or tuba.
Oh, okay. Okay. I always wondered how you guys did it. Okay, that makes sense. That's cool. It's also cool that
Yeah,
you let
and
them play instruments on the second day of school. That's pretty cool.
yeah, we
Yeah.
jump right into it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it was like a long time ago. I used to try to talk about it for like a week, but it's
Yeah.
like they're just anxious to
Yeah.
play. So let's just have it organized, ready to go on the second day, and let's just jump into it. And they're gonna make a bunch of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Let's just do it so we can
That's
figure
really
it
cool.
out.
That's really cool.
And like I say, I'm sharing all my secrets. But once we go through that instrument testing, you know, I already put them on the instrument they're gonna sound the best on.
Yeah.
So they already you know that they already got the upper hand because they already sound good on that instrument. So now we can progress really quick
Yeah.
versus having them pick instruments and not even trying them out. And I've done that a couple of times, and it's like some of them will practice and take it serious and get really good really quick, and then some others it just takes forever
Hmm.
because they thought they were going to sound good on saxophone, but it just never panned out.
Yeah.
So at least this group of kids, they know, okay, I did try the sax and I did sound good on it. So it's a good fit for
Yeah.
them, and they progress really fast.
Yeah. So I know some of your students are allowed to take, or not allowed, able to take the instruments home and practice. But what about like your percussion players or your like tuba or euphonium players?
Yeah, the tuba players sometimes they just have to take it home on the weekend, or
Okay.
some kids they take it home every other weekend, something
I
like
see.
that, or they just take their mouthpiece home and they can do some mouthpiece
Okay.
buzzing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, also, I do open up the band room a little bit early. Before I had my son and everything,
Hmm.
I used to get to school, probably about an hour early. Open
Oh.
up the band room for kids that wanted to do pass offs and wanted to
Yeah.
get some practice in.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that
Yeah,
when I was there, they were trying to get in early, and I was like, "The bell hasn't rung yet. We always come in early." They said. And I said, "Wow, you guys are really committed. That's really cool."
yeah,
Yeah,
they love it.
I know. High school band teachers, summertime is not really free time because a lot goes on with high school band over the summer. They're always out there on the field marching and in the heat. Do anything like that for middle school?
Yes, we do a middle school band camp.
Good.
And matter of fact, it's coming up very soon, June 24th, and we're gonna go all the way to July 4th. So
Oh,
10 days.
so that is for kids already in the program, right? It's not prospective.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
kids that are already in the band. So for those 2 weeks, we're gonna work on patriotic music because we are gonna do a performance, Fourth of
Mm.
July performance at
Oh,
Avalon Park.
oh,
Yeah, we've been doing. Yeah, I think we've been doing Avalon Park for about the last, I think, almost 10 years. Almost, yeah,
oh.
yeah. We've been there every year.
That's pretty cool that you have kids to commit to do that in the summer. With all the things going on, families have schedule wise in the summer. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think we
does that
get.
include
Yeah,
your?
most of the time we get half of them.
Yeah, yeah. Does that include your eighth graders who just left?
Yeah, some of the eighth graders that left, they do come back because they
Yeah,
love it so much. And they don't have nothing to do during the summer, so
yeah,
they want to come back for band camp.
yeah,
They want to help the seventh and eighth graders that are there.
yeah.
So
So let me
yeah, so
just.
I always have helpers.
That's good. Yeah, and you obviously created a program that the kids love. That they don't even want to leave. They want to come back. And
Yep.
your school is right across the street from the high school. Do you have kids coming back and trying to help and visiting and stuff?
Yes, the high school kids, they love coming back to help the
Yeah,
band.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
they're always writing me saying, "When is band camp? When's the next performance? I want to come out and volunteer and help and stuff." So
Yeah,
they're always. I see them,
yeah,
from sixth grade to 12th grade. I see them all the time.
yeah. I think that's a testimony of the power of the music program, but also of the program that you created too. That's kudos to you also for the program that you've built. I would say just from what I've seen. So let me ask you this: if the county decided we don't need music, we gotta cut some things. So music is going, band is going. Maybe we'll just keep chorus or something. And then you had the opportunity to go before the board and speak and explain to them why you believe the program should remain. What argument would you give for the importance of music programs in middle school?
Man, I would definitely tell them that music changes lives and improve our lives
Hmm.
as well. Music is key in cognitive and motor skills. If you didn't have something like music that involved different, like I said, multitask different parts of the brain, it definitely, I would say we wouldn't have too many smart people, but
Yeah.
it does help, with our cognitive abilities and stuff by learning how to play an instrument. Sports can do that as well, but
Yeah.
there's an opportunity for injury when you are involved in sports,
Hmm.
especially with football and the helmets and the concussions and stuff, which have long-term ramifications. But music, it doesn't. Music doesn't really do that.
Yeah.
Music helps and it enhances our lives, and music is definitely something that you can play for the rest of your life as well. Football, basketball, and sports, once you get about, 25, 30 years old, you're tired. Your
Yeah.
body's tired. You can't do that
Yeah.
any longer. But you can keep playing all the way until you're 100 years old if you practice and want to play every day on an
Yeah.
instrument. So that's the cool thing about
Yeah.
playing the instrument. But music education is vital to our students, and it improves their lives. Leadership, team building skills. Those are the things we need. For the next generation when
Hmm.
they go out into the workforce.
Yeah.
They need those skills.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And as you were saying that, I was thinking that's true because the band is a team. It's a team, right? The band has to work together as a team, otherwise they don't sound good. So yeah,
Right, that's right.
yeah,
There's no I in band.
yeah. So if you had a young person who is a very talented musician and is in college, is studying music education, and is considering becoming a music teacher, but they like, "Ugh, I don't know if I really want to go into if this career is worth it. I don't know if this career is. I'm hearing so many terrible things about education, but I want to work with children, but I'm not sure. What advice would you give potential upcoming music educators?
Well, it's first thing I'm gonna say, you don't do it for the money. You do it for the kids.
Yeah,
You got to have a strong passion to help and teach children
yeah,
because you're not gonna get rich. I'm not gonna be a millionaire doing this.
yeah.
So once you kind of get that out of your mind that you're not gonna make $1 million doing this,
Hmm.
then you could really focus on the kids and building up the kids.
Yeah,
If you build the kids, you build the program the right way, then success would definitely
yeah.
come.
That's true. That's good. Now, do you play in a band outside of school?
Yes, I do. Yep, I play in two bands outside of
Oh,
school. I play with the Distinguished Men of Brass,
oh.
and I know we was talking about my career and everything. I taught middle school for 11 years. I taught high school for 3 years,
Hmm.
and one year I was a substitute. And the reason why I was a substitute is because I was trying to get a job here in Tampa, and it just didn't pan out.
Hmm.
When I didn't get the job here in Tampa, some of my friends that marched at Busch Gardens with the Sheiks, they wanted to form a new band called the
Hmm.
Distinguished Men of Brass.
Yeah.
So I joined the Distinguished Men of Brass back in 2011. I think it was 2011. And we formed this band, and we were actually able to get on America's Got Talent back in
What?
2012. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Wow.
we were on TV, and we were able to get some gigs off of that. We went to Las Vegas and performed about 5, 6 times because
Wow.
of that appearance. And matter of fact, when we were on there, we actually made it to the top 48 that
Oh,
year.
I gotta go back on YouTube
So
and
it
see
was
if I
like
can find this.
yeah, check it out. It's on YouTube. Yeah, America's Got Talent season 7,
Oh wow.
2012. You'll see the Distinguished Men of Brass, and you will see me on there.
That is so cool. Wow. So do you tell your students that?
Yeah, I share it with them all the time. Yeah,
I bet they love
yeah,
that.
I tell them about it. I tell them about it, and I say, if you guys practice hard, then you'll be able to do stuff just like that. You just get with a group, get with a band, and just be able to perform all over the country and
Yeah.
stuff.
That is cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up. Do you play for a church or anything?
I don't play for a church currently. I'm just so busy, but I'm actually going to play on a gospel concert coming up very soon. Man, they called me and say, "Hey, we need a trumpet player." So,
Oh.
that's yeah, it's the cool thing. Once you learn how to play an instrument and you become really good at your craft and
Hmm.
stuff, people will give you a call and say, "Hey, man, I need a trumpet player to play with Wynton Marsalis," which I have. I played
Oh.
with Wynton Marsalis before. I don't know if you're
Wow.
familiar with him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
I actually met him in college, and then when he came down to Tampa, he was like, "Oh, I want Distinguished Men of Brass to play on stage with me."
Wow.
And when we came back from our performance across the street, we came over there to see Wynton.
Hmm.
And then at the end of the show, we went out there on the stage and we played with him.
That is
And
so
he
cool.
always does this little solo thing at the end. And we came out there and we played and jammed out with him on stage in front of the whole entire crowd and everything.
Wow.
It was really cool because like I had some friends that were there. I didn't even know they were going to the Wynton Marsalis concert,
Hmm.
and they said, "Hey, play that trumpet, Donald. I hear you, man." I said, "I didn't know you were gonna be here," and that's what they said. "I didn't know you were gonna be on the program." Like, it's the biggest surprise of my life. Like I see Wynton Marsalis, and then I see a friend of mine on stage playing.
Wow.
So I had several friends in the audience when we played with Wynton Marsalis.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, currently I'm not playing with the church, but I have played some church gigs before.
Hmm.
There is a concert coming up, and I guess I'll try to promote it. But Darius Twyman, I think it's William Murphy the second.
Wow.
These are like some big time people
Wow.
here. I ain't realize how big time they were. It's like, hey, yeah, just need you to play with some gospel artists. I'm like, sure, but this is gonna be a pretty big concert.
Wow. That is pretty cool.
But I also do play with another band. It's called the Universal Show Band,
Hmm.
and it's actually a nonprofit. So I'm one of the founding members and board members. And what we did with Demo Brass, which was like a little show style marching band,
Hmm.
we decided to do the same concept, but we do it with middle school and high school age kids.
Oh, wow. I like that. That's
Yep.
cool.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So we're building that up now, and it's been pretty cool. And we're actually gonna play this Saturday at the Juneteenth festival at Raymond James Stadium.
Wow. So it'll be middle school,
Yeah.
as you said, right? Young people.
Well, they started in middle school. Now they're all high school
I
kids
see. I
now.
see. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to we might see about adding another middle school kid in the future,
Hmm.
but yeah, they all started in middle school when they were in eighth grade
Yeah.
because they show proficiency on trumpet and trombone. So it
Hmm.
was like, hey, we'll go ahead and add them to the group, and so far it has turned out really well.
Wow. You're doing big things, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I say I'm like the busiest. I'm just always busy.
Yeah. Well, I hope in the midst of all this busyness that you do get some rest in the summer, because as a teacher, you're gonna need that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to get some rest. I think after this weekend, after I get done with the Juneteenth and then the gospel concert thing, we got like two
Oh,
rehearsals for
okay.
that, and that's pretty much relaxed.
Hmm.
It's more chill compared to the marching band stuff.
Oh.
So we have that, but once I'm done with the marching band and the band camp and everything, then I get like 3 weeks to rest
Oh, okay.
before
Good.
teachers go back.
Good. Yeah. Well done, Scott. It was great to have you on the show. I feel like you're a phenomenal educator, and I just wanted to showcase some of your talent on this show and just let people know that there are phenomenal educators out there. There's lots of them, actually. But thank you so much for honoring my invitation and coming to talk to us about music education and teaching middle school band.
All right, no problem. Anytime, man. This was fun. I mean, I get a chance to talk about what I do.
Yeah.
And this was fun.
Yeah. I always
Yeah,
tell people, if I
and
wasn't an English teacher,
yeah.
I always tell people I wish I could, because I sing. I don't play an instrument. I always say I wish I could play the piano, because if I could play the piano, I would have been a chorus teacher. Because when I watch chorus teachers, orchestra teachers, and band teachers, it's I just they just have such a love for what they do, and they get to see the rewards of it. I feel like as an English teacher, I don't get to see the rewards of what I do, but when the kids are up there singing or playing, you're like seeing the rewards of everything you worked hard for that year. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah. That's the fun part. They get to experience it, go on stage, perform, and you get to enjoy the fruits of your
yeah,
labor.
yeah, it's good. All right, but thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great having you today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Education Today. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the subscribe button and consider leaving a review on whichever platform you are listening. You can email any questions or comments about the show to edtodaypodcast@gmail.com. And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at soko_rights. That's SOHKOR_rights. This podcast is listener supported, so if you are able to make a donation, check out the show notes for ways in which you can give. See you next time, and thank you again for listening.